What's up, y'all? Back with another video, this time on the Holy Paladin, continuing the series from 1800 to 2400. If you've been keeping up with the series, then you know in the last video we hit 2300, like 2315 or something like that. And so I decided to take a little break after the Ret Paladin fiasco because it was really hard to queue. And so I took about a 2-week break, and this was one of the first queue sessions when I got back. So actually no Ret Paladin's really an interesting one. You don't normally see a lot of devastation evokers, and sometimes they're tough to play against. And I was also a little rusty because again I had taken a break. I'd been playing my Resto Shaman and my Holy Priest. So this one was interesting. I definitely didn't play it perfectly. It took me a little bit to get adjusted. Like right there, I gave the warrior the Blessing of Summer, and I probably should have held it just a little bit longer for when the hunter did his burst. And they have the offensive dispel from the enhancement shaman. So I went ahead and tossed the Blessing of Protection out, hoping that he would offensively dispel him. But he didn't, so it was fine. And they were actually kind of splitting there. So right here, I give the hunter the Blessing of Autumn, or whatever it is, that reduces the cooldown of stuff. I go ahead and hodge the enhance, since his Resto Druid's way over there, so we can't dispel him. The hunter does get the trap, and they're still kind of splitting a little bit. He does a lot of burst to my hunter there, so I do go ahead and use sack and bubble because we're getting close to like 50% damaging, and that's when things start just getting crazy. You can see where my mana's starting to go down. I do have the Blessing of Winter coming up, so I'll be able to get a little bit of mana off that. And the druid still has his trinket, so I'm trying to just play as defensively as possible. I go ahead and toss another bop here, but he's not falling for the bait of dispelling it. I go ahead and burn my trinket since that was a full hex, and I cast the Blessing of Winter. And the Devastation Evoker gets the lock on me, which was huge for them, and they stop the sleep, which was really good for us. My hunter's way over here, so I'm going to try and kite over to the other pillar, and I get slept. And they got him to like 1% there and didn't take him down. So this first round was like so intense. So the warrior intervenes there, and that actually won us this first round because I mean I'm pretty much out of cooldowns, but because of that intervene, we were able to get enough counter pressure, and they're all starting to get low, and the druid just can't pick them up, and we end up getting the kill. So crazy first round. Really clutch intervene by the warrior to save his hunter teammate there. And now we are doing the warrior and devastation evoker, and honestly pretty much everybody in this lobby played pretty well. I probably played the worst because I was just so rusty. So the blessing that I have up for this round is Blessing of Spring, so that gives basically a healing buff. I can toss that on me, or I can toss it on the devastation evoker. Whoever it gets tossed on, they'll take increased healing, but they can also do increased healing, so really it's best to use it on me, but sometimes you'll see me throw it on a DPS if I know they're just going to focus that DPS 100% of the time. So right here, the devastation evoker is, they're gonna focus him. I think this was the one where I used bop too early, I can't remember, and I needed to freedom my warrior there, but I was focused on just topping him. The druid pops tree form, and I did go ahead and throw out the Blessing of Spring, and so he's taking increased healing. He's also using his little red buff that heals him, so he's basically taking double increased healing there, so that was really good for us. And I haven't even had to burn wings yet, and we're about to have so I saw the druid trinket, so I ran over here to blind him. That was kind of bad for me to run all the way across the map. Ended up being okay. They turn and pop everything on my warrior. He pops Die by the Sword. They swap back and instantly chunk down the devastation evoker. So right here I'm thinking, do I really need to bubble? And nope, I ended up holding it, and it was okay. So now we still have bubble. It was a little sketchy there, and they ended up just turning around and burning. As soon as I gave him the Blessing of Summer, they just burned down the hunter. So honestly, pretty good round that time. I didn't play that too terribly. Held cooldowns when I needed to, which is something, you know, I've been queuing 3s, and there's a massive difference in 3s and solo shuffle. I guess just because you can communicate so much in 3s that you know exactly when to hold your cooldowns, and you can tell your teammates when exactly to use their cooldowns, versus in solo shuffle you kind of just throw everything out. You don't want to leave anything on the table. So I kind of played that a little risky by getting down that low and not bubbling, but ended up being okay. So now we're playing Turbo Cleave with the Enhanced Shaman and the Arms Warrior, and I think we have like the advantage with this one. So I go ahead and toss a Freedom on the Enhanced Shaman. They're doing pretty good spread pressure here, and you'll notice I have my taunt macro on my bar for the Hunter. I'm going to try and taunt his pet in order to stop a trap. Sometimes it can be really difficult if you're like caught in the middle of the global. So I do go ahead and sack here, and I pop my little mini wall. But I don't swap beacon because I'm really not too scared of them taking me down. But I ended up bubbling just so we could keep pressure. So I didn't waste the global on swapping the beacon, and there we go. They turn around and burn my enhance. I get the bop off before I get slept, and the druid's coming over there to chain CC me, and the hunter goes down in the meantime. I don't know if he had already deterred or not, but I don't know what happened there. So now we have the marksman. It's kind of like the marksman beast cleave. If he was beast mastery, it would be beast cleave. I figured this one wasn't going to dampening, so you see me toss out Blessing of Winter because I would rather have the Blessing of Spring come up in about 30 seconds. I just don't think it's going to go deep enough with the way these two compositions are, where I'm going to run out of mana, especially with how the last two went. So they go ahead and Stormbolt him and pop everything on him. He does use his wall, which was really good. I ended up getting a proc there, which was good for us. So I can kind of hold wings a little bit longer. The Devastation Evokers come over here to try and get us in a triple CC, and I run away to not get stunned, but I do get slept. So I go ahead and trinket that. The Fear, he trimmers me instantly, which was huge again. So they swap to the Hunter. I do toss out the Blessing of Spring, but I toss it on him just so I can get some increased healing. If he uses Exhilaration, it also is affected by Exhilaration, which I think is really weird. He gets the trap, but the Enhance breaks it with whatever the chain lightning thing. I do get a double blind there, which was huge for us because the Druid didn't have Trinket. The Devastation of Ogre did have Trinket. He honestly probably should have trinketed there. So we get a little bit of pressure. I freed him my Hunter so he can kite a little bit better. I dispel my Enhanced Shaman as soon as he gets rooted, and we are just doing a ton of damage to this warrior, and we ended up taking him down. So the double blind ended up being massive there with how much pressure we ended up getting. The Druid ended up falling behind, so that was another really nice round. And now here is the round that was the worst round by far. I overestimated how much damage they were going to do in like the opener, and I think in this round I wasted a lot of cooldowns that I didn't need to waste, and it ends up costing us, which this comp's not very good. Enhanced Shaman, Devastation of Ogre, like that's just not a good comp, and we're going against the KFC, which is Arms Warrior Hunter, much better comp. So really unfortunate here. So he's chunking him. I'm hoping he walls. I do go ahead and use Blessing of Protection there, which that's part of what I was talking about, like right there. If he would have walled, and I go ahead and use sack, we still have wings. So that kind of sequence right there was really unfortunate. So we used two major cooldowns. The Druid is way over there away from the Hunter, so I go ahead and Hodge the Hunter to see if he'll trinket, and they are swapping back and forth and doing a ton of damage to both my DPS. I still don't know if my Shaman has walled yet. Oh, there's the wall. It does come out, but it's too late, so I've already burned bubble. So there we just overlapped the wall and bubble, which again, another really unfortunate turn of events. I go ahead and Aura Mastery because they turn around and they are now chunking my Devastation Evoker. So we have one bop left. We have Lay on Hands left, and damaging isn't too high yet. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I can do that, but you see the Death Chakram is now on my Enhanced Shaman. He does get the trap. I trinket immediately and bop him just to take off some of that pressure. So now we only have lay on hands left, and they are just chunking my DPS back and forth, and I am burning through all my mana. So in 30 seconds, I will have some more cooldowns come up, but it's honestly just about too little too late. So I go ahead and toss the barrier here, and surprisingly, he still dies with like barrier up, which was kind of crazy. So you see how big the barrier ends up being, and yeah, the druid stops me and he dies. Really unfortunate round there. I would have liked to have had bop there at the end instead of using it at the beginning. So just an unfortunate round. There were things that we could have done differently. So same thing again with this one, with us having a marksman and devastation. We're really bursty. I don't think this is going to go to where I'm going to go so I just toss out Blessing of Winter. I would rather have Blessing of Spring. Explained that in one of the previous rounds. And I was a little bit bummed by that, and I was like, man, I wanted it to be a 6-0. But sometimes, you know, just you have bad rounds, and that happens. So I'm thinking we're going to focus the enhance here. Should be the easier of the kills. And I really want to toss out Blessing of Spring here kind of as it comes up. And my Devastation of Ogre did a good job of kiting. The Hunter does use sack on himself. So I'm trying not to overcommit too much on cooldowns, and I do toss out Blessing of Spring. It's kind of the one thing. Omnibar was bugged out, so I had to disable it for these matches. So whenever there's multiple ranged kicks, like the Enhanced Shaman and everything else, it's really hard to keep up with all the kicks if you don't have Omnibar. So that was also another really unfortunate thing about this match, is a lot of times I was losing track of when someone was using their kick. So I'm thinking here that my Hunter is still okay, and they are burning down that Enhanced Shaman. So I'm kind of just I'm not trying to commit too much once again. I would like to see Aura Mastery right here. I think using Aura Mastery here would be huge. Oh, I go ahead and sack. That's fine too. The enhance. Oh, he got to 1%. Ended up being really close. I do remember that, and I thought we had the kill. I go ahead and give the blessing of. Oh, yep. I go ahead and give blessing to the Devastation of Ogre, and you see there the new rating I got to. I got to 2397, so 3 points away from 2400. I was a little bit tilted by that one, so I was like, I'm just gonna call it for the day. So hopefully next Monday you guys will see the kind of season finale, and we'll finally wrap this up. We'll see if I get some good cues, and if I end up doing it before then, I may post the video early. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys have been enjoying the series. The new season starts in about 3 weeks or so from when I recorded this. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully be posting more Holy Priest videos and Holy Paladin, well, clearly Holy Paladin videos, but hopefully more Holy Priest videos again next season. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, all that jazz. It helps me out a ton. Getting super close to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm just so thankful for all of you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.